Okay, we're going to make a start.
I think so. I think we're ready.
Okay, so today I'm going to go through some common problems with the press start console that we get quite often on the main site, and look at some solutions and some common problems that come up with that. Spiky, Blanche, you got anything planned? Omar?
I am going to talk about linking object data, like with Alt-D, because a lot of people have problems with that. I've seen in the forum, and I know someone asked me about it, and I can't remember who or where, but I will try to explain that a bit. And if we have time, Cell asked about what in the Bevel options the outer mitre is, or the mitre outer and mitre inner. So I will try to explain that a bit.
Right. Blanche? Sean?
So I will be tying off of Martin Spiky's example. He's going to be talking about linking internally in a file, and I'm going to be talking about linking externally outside of the file. And it's a good segue for the collab, because we're going to be covering linking a lot
Yeah.
in CG Cookie collab. So it's good for beginners, but it's also good for collab members, just to cover this process.
And I was thinking, I told you guys the other time that I got nervous with these streams, and I wanted to first lay low. I think I'm getting a bit of traction now and a bit of confidence. I was thinking of getting a couple of questions out of the Google Sheet questionnaire we were developing, and just do something with those questions.
Excellent.
Do we have any advertisements we want to talk about with the latest CG Cookie happenings?
Yeah, well, you've got Stray. I've already seen most of that because I've been reviewing it, so I've had a head start on you.
Yeah, so my background is one of the courses that's in work right now. It's called Stray, and it's about creating environments.
Say that again? You're doing a course, Sean?
No, I'm just advertising a course with my background.
Oh, okay.
So Keenan, one of the CG Cookie crew, he's working on a course that's called Stray. And it's taking concept art and creating an environment from it. And then Adrian's got a background too, where he's going to advertise just a little bit.
Yeah, this one is what Jonathan Lampell's coming up with for GeoNodes course, quite an in-depth course coming up, which will be pretty good.
Geometry node?
Yeah, this is what he's developed with his geometry nodes course. Blender Park.
Long-awaited geometry nodes course.
That's going to look a bit complex, I think.
Do any of you know geometry nodes? I feel that I'm never going to learn that.
I do. It's actually really, really interesting to use and fun. It's a different way of doing art. But it has some really, really cool effects that you can use it with. And it's getting better every release of Blender. And they're getting to the point where they're doing UV maps as well.
Do you feel you need to have a mind, a coding mind, to use them?
I think it's more of getting used to node workflows. So if you're used to using the shader editor, you're probably going to catch on to geometry nodes.
Yeah, I've played with it a little bit, but not much. But I think it's same with shader nodes. It's similar to knowing what each node does and then knowing how to use it is the main concept, really. Once you understand that, what each node, but they're quite self-explanatory, really.
We'll see how good Lampell's course is. If I can learn geometry nodes when it comes out, I think that'll be the metric for me.
Yeah. Okay, so shall we? Who wants to go first? You and Spiky are going to link up, are you? Blanche?
Yeah, I can start.
Yeah, I'll do after Spiky if that's cool.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. First of all, Sheila asks about rigging. I think I'm not a rigger, but you can't do it with parenting. You need to use constraints for that, so you can one part follow two other parts.
Can you demo
So
it?
if you it's like I think use a copy transform constraint or something like that on both of them, and then make one only 50% influence and the other full influence, something like that. It's like the
How can you
bone,
make-
the middle thing.
One part follow two sides. I don't even understand the question.
Yeah. So if you've got 3 bones, if you have a copy constraint on one to follow, let's say you put a copy constraint on number 2 to follow number 1, and you do the same with number 3, they will both follow number 1. If that makes sense.
She said okay, thanks, with a lot of admiration.
Okay, I'm going
It-
to.
It does all depend what you want the bones to actually do, whether you want rotation, scale, but a copy transform would normally work for most things.
Oh, hello, Beast.
So- I have got my screen up, my Blender.
Are you streaming?
Everybody
Oh,
can see that.
yeah, I can see your stream.
Okay. So we're talking about linking object data. I will start with what actually is an object. And most answers you get is it's actually just a container. And while that's not incorrect, but it's very vague. And it doesn't explain anything actually. What I'd like to think of it is it's a coordinate system. Like in the world, we have a coordinate system, an x-axis and y-axis and a z-axis. And if you look at the cube, it also has that z, x and y. And the fun thing is, if I scale this on the y-axis, and this is just for visualization what I do now, you can see that the y-axis is scaled up. It's not actually the object that's scaled, it's the coordinate system that's scaled. So if you go 1 unit in x, that's not as far as 1 unit in y.
If you scale in X but negative, will it get more little?
If you scale negative, it flips the direction.
Okay, if you scale 0.5,
So,
will it get
X-
more little?
0.5.
Yeah, 0.5. If you show it.
Then it goes, the x goes smaller.
Oh, whoa! I didn't know that.
Yeah, this is just for visualization. I like that they do it this way. And they call this origin, but they visualize not only the origin, which is this dot, but they visualize also the axes, the coordinate system, which is really cool.
Yeah, that
That's
is
the
cool. I didn't know
local
that the
one.
origin
And as you
display
can see-
changed.
So if you don't have this on, and you see, okay, the origin is that point in the middle, the dot, and yeah, okay. But actually, it is like in the world origin is where the x, y, and z are 0. So the crossing point of all the 3. And the object origin is also where they are 0 and where they cross. But you see, they are different. And let me see now, if I open a spreadsheet,
So you said that when we scale, it's the coordinate system that gets changed.
yes, exactly. And if we look at this cube in the spreadsheet, you can see here are the vertices. So there are at -1 and +1 for each of the axes. It gives 8 vertices. But if you look here, on the
They
other side
start
again,
at
you see,
0.
this is still at -1, 1, and in all axes. But because the coordinate system is scaled, or the object is scaled, if you could call it, it looks different. It doesn't look like a cube anymore, but the data, this is the object data, and this is what we're going to link in, is still cube, right? This is
I
the
can see where this is
default.
going. This is exciting.
And now, if I add a monkey, a Suzanne, for instance, and I'm going to link in the data of the cube, link object data. Oh, I have to turn this off actually. Now, you see, the monkey, Suzanne, it's called Suzanne. I think I need to switch it off here. No, it's okay. It uses these data. Oh, I've made a mistake here. Let me correct that for a second.
Might be bug about the list starting at 0, not at 1. I was looking at the cube, and when you said those were the vertices data, I figured, well, the cube has 8 vertices, but there's 7 shown in the list.
No,
But it starts at 0.
it counts
Yeah.
at 0, so
It
this are
starts at 0. They're counted 0 as 1. I hate when they do that.
Yeah, that's computer talk. Most computers start counting at 0.
Yeah, you know why?
God, they're evil.
Yes.
Because in binary, you start with 0 and 1.
That's one reason. The other reason is that if you have a list, then the elements of the list are 0, 1, 2, 3, and they start with 0 because that is the offset of the address where the first element is, and the first element has an offset of 0.
Oh, that's computer
So-
talk. That's
That's where the address where the information is plus 0 for the first element, and the second element, depending on how large it is 8 bits or 16 bits further. Well, that's where it comes from.
Mikey. Sheila asked you a question in your language. I will not even try.
I can't see the chat at the moment. I will look at it. But anyway, we have this cube now. I've corrected it. It's back normal. As you can see, I can scale it, and the vertices are the same. And now if I wait a minute, how did we do this? This first, and then the active one, and then link object data. This uses this monkey, the Suzanne. It uses the list of the cube. This one, and that's why it looks like a cube. And I can rotate it. Doesn't matter, because it still uses the same list. The only thing is, if it's rotated, you can see the origin is the coordinate system is rotated.
It's linked. If you go into edit mode and change things, the other one changes, right?
Exactly, because if I go into edit mode on either one, if I now move a vertex, the vertex moves in both because they are linked. I hope. Yes. And if I undo that, if I say, for instance, I add some vertices, which is very exciting, of course, and scale this down, it happens in both.
The data is linked.
So the list is the same for this uses the same list as this. So this is called Suzanne, and this is called Cube.
I wonder. I don't use any other software. It's that only an only Blender thing.
I don't think so.
That other software, 3D Studio Max or the other one.
I think they all do this. It is this object data. They also have edge data, how the vertices are connected, and face data, where the faces are. So, but this lists like the spreadsheet, right? If you export via FBX or OBJ, you get a text file which uses these numbers.
Wow.
So that's when you export an object or import an object, you get a whole list, and how they are organized is a bit different if it's OBJ or FBX, but still they use the same vertex positions, and they tell you which edges, how the vertices are connected and where the faces are and things like that.
Is that spreadsheet valuable for doing something useful? You know what I mean? The data is cool, but when you're rigging or something, it's not really useful.
Well, when you're modeling or doing anything, I rarely use it. Actually, I think I never use it, but for demonstration, it's really nice.
Yeah, it's cool. Makes you look like a boss, right?
No, it's easier to explain. You can see that they use the same data.
Yeah, that's a good representation of the data itself when you show the spreadsheet side by side. I really like that. Good idea, Spiky.
Yeah, that's what I use the spreadsheet for, actually, mostly. But there are some other things where you can use it, but yeah, this is actually the main thing what I use it for.
So when you're coding, or if you're creating your own custom gizmos, this is actually really handy because you create gizmos based upon location of the individual points.
Uh-huh.
So you have to throw it into Python, and you just throw it into a list, basically. And you can copy all those and throw them into the list, rather than having to go and navigate the Blender API to find those points.
Okay, and now one more thing. I have this object now, and I'm going to do something really stupid. I'm going to apply the rotation.
You can't when it's...
And now, all these numbers are different from what they were.
Wait,
They were this, and now they're this. They are no longer linked.
Wait.
It's a newer feature. They didn't used to be able to do that.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Yeah, it wasn't allowed before, but so it broke the link and applied rotation on this one.
So now you don't get that error?
No.
Can you undo Spiky? Because you get a pop-up message that tells you what's going to happen.
So that's new to this version of Blender?
Yeah, Control A, apply rotation, create new object data users, and apply transformation.
Oh, wow. Whoever did that should get a Nobel Prize.
Yeah. Remember how often does it happen? You scale something and then link, and then you have to apply the scale and you can't do it.
Yeah, oh man, that takes
terrible.
so much headache.
We had to go and find the make single user.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was painful before, so they incorporated it in.
It wasn't that bad. You could select all of them and make single user all at once. And
just navigating and finding where that was, right?
Yeah. And then link them again, but still, this is easier.
So if you can undo Spiky, one cool visualization of what's going on, undo again so that they were linked. And in the outliner, if you open up those little arrows to expand downward. Yeah. So right now they're both using cube.01. Yeah. Now go ahead and apply, and you'll watch that change.
Oh, sorry, that was too fast. Yes, it makes cube 002 now.
That's perfect.
Right.
Beautiful.
Well, that's actually all there is with linking object data. You can also link materials, of course, and other things, but this is where people have most problems when they figure out when things, they apply the rotation on the original objects and then everything falls apart and everything seems wrong.
I've been donating to Blender Foundation for years. I like to think my money is on that.
Me too, that's a welcome feature. Now you don't have to worry about that message erroring out.
I think I've seen that spreadsheet you've got there. You say you don't really use it. I've seen people using it when doing geometry nodes because of getting points for. They need the points to add geometry or to make shapes and whatever.
So that data is useful for geometry nodes.
Yeah.
I don't say I did. I said I didn't use it. I don't
No.
say it's not useful.
No, but I've seen it used, so that's one use I've seen it.
And that's actually a really good use case now that you think about it. Is geometry nodes, you're often, I mean, in the name, it implies that you're going to be in the geometry a lot. So having access to the points of the geometry is really helpful, especially for like a point instance where you're instancing stuff on vertex points.
Yeah.
Okay. Shall I explain the Mitre now or after Sean?
Explain what? Explain what?
I would say let's have me do the linking from
first.
external. Yeah, it says do linking first, and we'll come back and do the mitering question. Because VCell had a really good question about Bevel. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.
Okay, I will.
He's here, by the way, Diesel.
I've seen him.
I hope he knows there's a chat. Diesel, you can chat in the chat.
Let's see.
Yeah, there he is. Hello.
See if this works.
If you have any questions about modeling, now's the time.
Hey, VCell. Alright, can you guys see my blender?
Yeah,
Yep.
we can. You can also see the chat.
Okay, Adrian, are you seeing that twice? I can just share my blender only if I need to.
No, that's fine.
Okay. Alright, so I'm going to be covering linking in a different way. And so Spiky covered linking within objects, and I'm going to cover linking from outside the blend file. So I'm going to get rid of my default cube here. And in my own personal projects, I've been working on a polarizer. Let's go to my documents. So I do photogrammetry. I've been doing photogrammetry for the past month or two, and I have an awesome ring flash, but it's really bright, and I have to put a polarization lens in front of the flash in order to use my cross polarization with my camera lens, and it will help remove the flash, the reflection flash coming off of the flash when it shines. So I had this drafted up for 3D printing, and I sent it off to a friend who owns a 3D printer. So this is going to be my example for appending files in. So if we start out with the default scene, I can go to File and Link. And let's say I wanted to link this object into a scene. Maybe I wanted to build that camera rig. And when you link, you have to tell Blender what exactly you want to link. And you can link various parts of the Blender workspace. And most people come in and they may just try to link one object. So this is the object that I had made.
I couldn't see the file when you were
Oh
navigating.
yeah. Try that again. File link. Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I just navigate to the blend file, and when you pick a blend file, it's going to give you a whole bunch of folders that you can link in. And you can link in materials, you can link in worlds, textures, or regular objects. And when I first did linking, I always just went to objects because I only wanted one thing. And let's just say I wanted this object. Well, when I link it in, my cube is taking up all the space. This guy's small. He fits on a small camera. You'll see in the outliner that you get a little link icon. And when I click on him, all this stuff on the right is all grayed out on the object, including the options for shape keys, vertex groups. And if you've ever been like me where you link an object into your scene, you try to move it, you can't move anything. He's stuck in place. And that's because it's linked data coming from a different blend file, and you're not going to change anything about that data. It's just visible inside of your blend file. So if I wanted to move this, I could go to my original blend file, move it, and then save. And then as long as I save this file, so I'll just save this as a linked template. If I open up the other blend file here, copy a blender. I'll open that polarizer, and if I move this one in Y, so GY1, and of course I'm in millimeters, change my units. There we go, moved them way over. And I can save, and when I go back to my other blend file, if I go to File and Revert, as long as you save before you revert, it will load in the new changes. And now he's moved over. Well, that's kind of for the collab, that's really painful to have to go in and make people move things. So there's another way to link in. Rather than linking in a single object, what you can do is you can link in an entire collection, and that it comes in a slightly different way. So I'm going to delete this object, and this time I'm going to link in the collection. So I'll go up one folder. Blender remembers where you were when you linked last time. So I'm going to click on the collections. I'm going to click on this film holder. And when you link that in, it brings the entire collection. So if I go back to my other blend file, my object lives inside this film holder collection. And the whole collection comes with it, but it also adds in an empty. And the empty allows you to move everything inside the collection with it. So if there were 10 objects, they would all come in, and the empty would allow you to move all 10 of them together. And what's nice about this, especially for something like a collaboration project, is people can link in your entire collection assembly, and then they can move the assembly into place wherever they need to go. And you can continue working in your local file, and you guys could both be working at the same time, and all you have to do is say, hey, can you save the file so I can get the latest changes? They save the original file, you can come to File and Revert, and you'll get the new changes. And you can still keep your location with your empty.
Sheila asked, did you already have the empty?
It creates the empty on collection link. So when you're linking the collection in, the empty comes with it. And it's actually, the object that comes in is an empty object. So if you look at the data over here, the object is an empty, and it's being displayed as plain axis. And inside, as a child of the empty, you have the linked collection. Does that make sense? So when you're importing, you're technically creating an empty and then making a child of the empty that's coming into the file. All that is coming from importing a collection or linking a collection. So if I wanted to link in cameras, it's going to create a cameras empty, and then the collection called cameras gets linked, or it gets linked into the blend file, and it becomes a child of the cameras empty.
There's no way to unparent. Is there?
Well, we can get into like making things local and library overrides, but I wasn't planning on doing that in this lesson. I don't know it well enough to teach it well, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But when you link in an object by itself, it just comes in as the object. When you link a collection, Blender creates an empty for you, and it makes the collection the child of the empty. That way you can move it around without having to worry about library overrides.
Yeah, the older system was easier. The library overrides, it's a little bit messier.
It is. But for the collaboration project, this is actually really handy. This is how we did it with the last collab. Kent made us all do our master collections, and then he would link those collections in. And it gave him an empty, and he could move that, way over here where it needed to be if it wasn't in the right place. And then the person could go and modify their original file, Alt-G, hey, that thing's not where it needs to be in the origin. They can save that file, and then all Kent has to do is do revert. And, this is my polarizer. Oh, I hadn't saved, I'm sorry. That's why you need to save before reverting. Film holder, link it in, now it's in the center. So if I had moved this, let's just say I moved this over Z 1 unit, saved in the original file, as long as I save in my file and then revert, it doesn't move the empty, it moves the objects in the collection. So I could have that empty way over here, make people make changes, save their changes, I save my file, I revert. My empty never leaves where it was at when I placed it. That's going to be really handy for Kent as he's building our scene for us, and Omar as they're placing assets around, for me for placing machinery. Does that make sense though?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Omar said about the overrides, linking overrides and all that kind of stuff. That would be used if you're in animation. So if you link in a character with a rig that you want to move individual parts of that rig, so you'd have to make it local or to use the library overrides.
That's correct.
With Sean's example, if you're set dressing a scene with objects, all you want to do is move them around. You're not actually making any animation with them, if that makes sense.
That's right. Yeah, if this was a character rig and I wanted like the character to come along with it and I needed to move the rig around, I would need a library override to do the rig, but the character would stay linked, and so any changes that would happen, he would take in those changes, but you'd have access to the rig still.
Exactly.
File. Yeah. That's a little more advanced use case. We're not going to be doing, I don't think we're going to be doing that part in the collab. Maybe in the machinery department we'll be touching on that a little bit. But for everybody else in the collab, it's going to be using these link collections. And you guys most likely won't have to do anything other than setting up your original file with the structure that Kent wants. You're going to have some collection with a certain name, and your master object will be inside.
I think for the hangar, yeah, we're probably going to have, like last year's collab, we're going to have master files with the 2x2 pieces, and we'll have a master scene where we're going to add all of that. Oh, where we're going to add all of that. Oh man, those were hard words. So I think, Sean, one of the things you can mention about linking stuff in is that it saves a lot of memory.
Yeah, a lot of the object information is saved in the previous file, as far as I understand it. Isn't that correct?
Yep. I used to, when I had a very bad video card, I used to link everything because the render didn't start. But when I linked stuff in, my render would, I would have a separate file for rendering, and I would link stuff in, and I didn't get the error for the memory.
And yeah. I believe that's because the mesh data lives in the original file. So I can't, with these objects, when they're linked in, there is no such thing as edit mode for these objects. I can't go in and change anything about them because all of that edit mode data is in the other file.
Exactly.
As far as I understand it.
Yeah, that's how I understand. Like you showed before, it doesn't have any object data. All you've got is the empty data, and that's it.
Yep.
Excellent.
Yeah, if someone has problems rendering because their graphics card is not too good, linking is always the best approach.
Yeah, linking internally and externally. I think both of those provide the same benefit for that. If you create linked duplicates of a collection or of an object, it doesn't duplicate the memory, as far as I understand.
Oh, that's a good point. So you mean when you instance a collection, when you hit Shift A at the bottom instance,
That was the reason why they added these.
So you can stay in the same file locally in that way.
Yep, that's correct. So if you've got like something that you need 100 of the same object, that's when you do collection instancing, where you only have the data stored in one of them, and then the rest are more like a linked duplicate.
So it saves up all the memory.
It's an instance of it basically. Geometry nodes operates on the same principle.
Geometry nodes, dude?
Yeah, there's a lot of instancing in geometry nodes.
I think I'm going to be watching that Jonathan Lampel course.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. That's why a lot of people are asking about it actually, because you get to work artistically in a little bit different mindset than we have in the past.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all I got. I can give
Cool.
it back. Do you want to take it again, or we give Omar and then Spikey can finish it off?
Yeah.
Me? Okay, well. Is there a way, Sean, that you can go into the... Okay, no, wait. There's a couple of questions. Let me see. Okay, there's a good question here. Let me try it. Okay, can you guys see my blender?
Yeah, we got you.
Yep.
Okay, so someone was asking, how do they render several from several cameras, one after the other? So suppose I have this camera here, and I want to render that. I want to render. Get a monkey. Easier to tell the size. So someone was asking if I have several cameras. How do I make them render automatically from each one? So of course we have to use markers and bind them. If we go here, marker, add a marker, with the active camera, I can bind the camera to the marker. So as you can see there, here, the marker turned into the camera icon because it is binded. And I think it gets the name from here. If I call this camera 1. Oh no, in the...
It'll be the object name.
Here, right?
Yep.
Camera... What? Yeah, we will update the name. And I will make this one the active camera with control 0. The active camera has this black triangle fill. So now with this camera I can go to the marker, add a marker, and bind camera. I call this camera 11. Okay, 14. And so on and so forth. I make this one the active camera, marker, M. If I have hover here in M, it'll add it automatically. Again, marker, control B, sorry, control B, whoops, here, control B. Number 10, stakes 20. He's spiky, I know math.
So I have a question already.
Yeah.
How are you making active cameras so quickly? The active
Control-
scenes camera.
I select the camera and I hit Control 0. Control 0.
Oh, I didn't know Control 0 changed the active camera. That's interesting. Cool.
I, on the other hand, don't know how to do it in the menu. Where could that be? Well,
I know it's in the
control
scene
is
properties on the far right. If you click on the scene properties, go up,
here.
go down,
Next one.
down. It's got the triangle on it.
That
That's
one.
the scene camera right there in the top.
At the top, you can just select
Select here. Oh, yeah.
I've been doing it manually the whole time.
Control 0
I
is
was
much
just-
better.
Yeah, Control 0 is way better.
So you can see here how when we scroll, because the camera is binded, changes.
Yeah, so what that's doing is it's changing the scene's camera based on the binding.
Yep.
So if you go to camera view and then press play, go to frame 1 and then press play, it'll change between each camera, and that's what the renderer pick up.
Control N to mutilate the timeline.
Oh my goodness, I didn't know that either. Learning
Yeah.
so many things today.
I like to work with hotkeys. It's faster. So that's basically it. When you hit, now that the cameras are binded to their respective marker, when you hit render animation, it'll just go frame by frame and it'll go to each view automatically. So that's basically it.
Wow.
And you can move the marker as well if you change your mind on
Oh.
the positioning.
True. You can hover your mouse here and you G on the keyboard and you can
So you can position it
move the marker.
if you change your mind where you wanted it.
Yeah,
Excellent.
that's very handy.
You can even change one that's before to being one that's after, correct? You can move camera 14 to the far right.
14 to the far right.
Yep. And now camera 20 will be before 14.
And you can rename camera 20 to whatever you want. Okay. So yeah, that's it. I got that question from our why Blender Y Google Sheet. There's a lot of questions. I can go through if we finish too early. I can go and pick another one from here.
Yeah, I didn't know this.
I knew some of these things, but I definitely learned a few tricks.
Yeah, me too.
This is awesome. That was awesome.
So who's next? Adrian, Martin.
Do you want to go, or I can go now if you want?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'll jump on if you want.
Okay.
Okay, let me share my screen.
Are there so many yet?
Okay. You see me?
I'm there. Yes.
Yeah.
My blender.
Yeah, I can see your blender.
Okay, so this is one of the common problems that we see in the chat on the site regarding the Press Start console course. The question is about the shading. So many people have this problem with the shading. If I turn on matcap, you can see this shading in the middle on the screen. You can see that?
That's beautiful right there.
Yeah. And there's some more along the edge there. You can just see it in there.
They call that eye-catching.
You see this the shadings is really poor. Now the question is what's causing that? So many people don't understand why this is happening. They followed the course to the letter, and they can't figure it out. So what I want to do is just run through a few common issues. One of the easiest option is just to lower your auto smooth a little. and you can just see it disappear there. Let me turn that back on.
I always get confused by that degree number.
See, you can see how
We're gonna cover it. It's gonna be great.
So if it's above 27.5, or if it's below, it's going to do something. I just always mess around with it till it fixes it.
yeah.
Mikey and I will explain it. We'll cover it in pretty good detail.
I'll just quickly go over. You see the angle of this face to this face. So just in there, you can see once it gets below 27.5, that's the angle. So being at 30, the auto smooth's not working. If that makes sense, the angle has to be.
So
you bring that angle.
That number has to be above the angle, the real angle of the face.
The maximum angle between face normals that will be considered a smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those two tips never help.
So that's one. Just playing around with that number, but to understand why this is happening, that's edge is probably the main reason, but there are. So if I go into edit mode and I'll show you this edge, you can see the how the edge is not how you would want it. It's too smooth. It's a bit sharper on this one and smooth on this one. So all we have to do is just go into edit mode. I've already selected that edge ring all the way around, and just Alt S and just pull that in a little bit more, and you can see how it sharpens it up just by pulling that in with Alt S, because you're then changing that angle lower than the 30. Alt S just to pull those along the normals. Yeah.
And that changed because when you hit Alt S, that changed the angle.
The angle between this face and this face, yeah. If that makes sense. So if I pull that back out, you can see it's a flatter angle. By pulling it in, it's a higher angle. It's an angle above 30. So which is that figure we've got there, which sharpens it. It's now not using the auto smooth. If that makes sense. And then up here we've still got the problem here. Here I think the same thing on this one is for these edges here and this one. The angle is not deep enough. So if we do the same there again, just pull those down and that sharpens it up. So we go back to our mat cap. You can see that's gone. And we've still got 30 degrees there. Now you can just change the 30 degrees until you get what you want, but sometimes you'll lose, you'll make some angles too smooth. So if I can't bring this down, you start seeing these angles here getting a bit smoother and smoother, and sometimes you just want to keep that a little bit sharper. So if we bring that back to 30, we've lost that. We've kept their information here, and we've lost that shading issue on the top there.
Blender
And
visualizes
on the side.
the angle. If you turn on something somewhere, you can visualize the angle, right?
Yeah, in the
Just as-
overlays. In the overlays.
Yeah, so if you go into overlays, you can go to edge angle, and you can see, depends on which angle, which edge you've got selected. If I select this edge, it tells me the angle, so that's 49 degrees.
So since it's going above the 30 limit, it's smooth.
If it's above 30, it's sharp. If it's below 30, it's smooth.
Above 30 is sharp.
Yeah. So if I bring this, let me show you on that edge again. So if I select that edge in there, we've got well, let's see this one. That's 60 degrees there. So if I select that edge Alt S, bring that up, and then select that edge again. No, oh, I know why that is. That's got double vertices there, and that's one another problem. So if I Alt M and by distance, I can now select that edge, and we've got 5 degrees. Yeah, so if I do Alt S, bring that down, you can see that going up 20, 24, 25, and as soon as it gets to 30 it sharpens the edge.
Oh, hey, that's cool.
So that's one, and with the double verts, which I want to talk about just in a sec as well with this. Another issue we get with the press start is the faces on this face really needs to be flat, like a flat surface. Quite often we see that surface is not quite flat. So if I select those faces, so you'd want all these faces as a flat surface. Yeah, so if I go to, let me turn this off again so you can see. You can see that they're not all flat. They're not on the same plane. Now these, I've already looked into this, and it's this edge around the screen that isn't. It's lower than the rest. So all you can do is just select one vert on the plane that you want everything to be on to make it all flat. Go to active element on your transform pivot point and press S, Z, 0, and that will bring them all flat on the same plane, and then they're all level, which I've seen quite often makes a difference to that shading as well.
Alright, I'm going to throw an audible out here. Let's say you're not on the orthographic axes. How would you scale flat?
How do you mean? If you're not...
So, if we're working on Boltzmann and you're on like a face
So-
that's 30 degrees and you got stuff that's not flat, how would you scale everything on that face flat?
So if the angle was like that,
Yeah. Yep, like that. That's great.
so you could go to local view, local transform, and then if I the Z is then on that angle. Yeah, so if
What
you were in
rotated it
local,
edit mode though?
huh?
Rotate him in edit mode to something else, so you're not on the local axis.
But would
to make
you-
it even harder?
Right, okay. So if I go
Rotated
back,
that. Yeah.
If I-
now
what
rotate
you-
him in edit mode.
you mean these? If these faces were the ones I wanted to,
We can keep it easy. Just rotate the whole object in edit mode. Rotate it about X30.
something like that.
Perfect. Yep. So now global and local is not going to work, right?
Exactly.
So now what do you do?
That's always a pain.
So in this case,
There's
I mean,
several
typically what...
ways.
Yeah, go ahead, Spiky.
Okay.
You got an idea?
Loop Tools it's an add-on that comes with Blender, and then if you select those faces you want flat, you go to Loop Tools, enable the add-on and set to flatten.
Flatten.
Flatten. This
Flatten.
one.
Yeah.
So
Don't do
by
it whenever
collecting
it's
those,
selected.
having those edges, those faces, and then flatten.
Yep. And you should be able to do a Shift G as well, Adrian. If you do Shift G, even if they're not flat, it should select by similar. To
Okay,
get all
yeah.
faces that are pretty close together.
Yeah,
Shift
but
G.
then you might get the bottom as well.
Co-planar, I think is what it is.
Yeah, you've got some extra ones in there as well.
Yeah,
That's
you don't
true.
want that.
Yeah, you wouldn't
But,
want that.
there's another thing, another way. If you, for instance, if you select the screen, Adrian,
Yep.
only the
That fix
screen,
it?
and then go into your
Transforms.
orientations and
Yeah.
make a new orientation.
Go to your
Where it
orientation
says
drop
global
down.
and make a new transform orientation.
Okay, yeah.
Select. Yeah.
And then you can,
Okay, that's good. Now you select the other faces you want flat,
and then you
You
can,
can scale to 0.
and
Scale
that's,
on that.
Z0 probably.
Z.
Remember Lampel using that a lot in the podhead course.
Yeah,
In hard surface, that's a go-to.
yeah.
Rational Rats says Control Numpad, if I remember, gives you the view. Yeah, I remember his dual
Oh, that's
control.
correct. Yep. Control and numpad 7 should give you the local Z view. Do Control Shift 7
Control Shift 7.
and do Control 7.
Control 7. Control Shift 7.
That's always finicky. That's very finicky. He last
Control.
question. How to align several items that are rotated in the shaft.
How to align several items that are rotated. So basically the same thing, isn't it? So if I wanted to, I mean that's a separate object at the moment. You mean in edit mode? For one object. So different
Could you
faces.
elaborate, Sheila? Could you elaborate a bit more?
If there are several objects,
Separated
cannot
items
do it.
that you can do it as you just did.
there is in Blender, where is it? Object transform, align to transform orientation.
Object
Transform.
transform.
Align to transform orientation. If you have several monkeys or cubes and one you make the new
active one?
orientation, and then you have the other ones and you say align to transform orientation, and then they all align to the same thing.
Could we demo that quickly?
So
Maybe in a new Blender file?
In mine?
Yep. I got the answer for
one second.
Rational Rats.
How do I do this screen?
let me just finish this one off and then you can.
Yeah, okay.
That's great.
So now I've messed this up.
Could we go into your
Got you off
stream
track. Sorry,
spike?
Adrian.
I'm not doing anything yet. I just leave it on, but
So Adrian, to answer Rational Rat's question, it's Shift Numpad 7. If you select a face and do Shift Numpad 7, it'll focus the camera directly orthographic to that face.
Shift 7.
Yeah, there
Right,
are a few
not Control Shift. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few of them. They're in the view
So if I
menu.
select that one and then do Shift 7. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect.
Or that one. Shift 7. Align to view. Okay. That was that one. That was that horizontal do.
For the
Was
first
that
time, I feel how when Kent says, oh my god, an hour has gone by. I'm amazed now that we're doing this, how an hour goes by really quick.
Yeah, I think that was it actually, because the other one was a double vertex, which we've already seen. That were around these edges here, but we've already
Now-
seen those. And go on.
If you have the modifiers tab open, isn't there also a modifier, the add
Edge split?
modifier?
Edge
No,
split?
it's on the left hand side where it's modify. Yeah, click on the add modifier. I'm sorry. Click add modifier,
modifier.
and on the left side of the, there you go, in the modify section, there is a weighted normal
Yep.
modifier as well. I believe that also can help make multiple faces that are pretty close together go more flat.
Okay, that's yeah. Modify the direction of the surface normals using a weighting method. So I think that uses like an average.
That's correct.
Yeah, average of all the selected faces. Or
Can you revert to the file the way it was when it started and see if that helps also? I think that's another solution in certain scenarios.
so with these faces,
If you make
Add
them a vertex
modifier.
group, I think.
okay,
And just assign them.
well, that would help, wouldn't it? And then weighted normal.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you should be able to select that vertex group.
Well, it's already done it because it's a selected faces.
Yeah, does it? Oh, it did it do selected faces? Okay.
I believe so. Yeah.
I think it's doing it to the whole model though. If you go
Yeah.
into
You can
rendered
see how
mode,
it's smoothed out
it's
these
weighting
edges.
everything.
Yeah.
So,
If you
but
then
it's even smoothing
select
the
that
sharp
group,
edges too.
you
There you
select the group, and then it's just those faces. Yeah.
go. So now go into rendered and see if that helps, like the matte cap for the car paint.
There you go.
You don't have to move any vertices that way. It's not great modeling, but at least it.
Yeah. It hasn't done those side because we never
Yeah,
selected that.
it's only one. It's only affecting the vertex group that you did, so it's
Yeah.
just those faces that were in the vertex group. But you could do a
Exactly.
couple weighted normal modifiers and one for each group.
Yeah. By the way, this is this modifier has come with. So what's that? A boolean. That's not me that's added that. That come with the file that we shared on the site.
You were troubleshooting.
Yeah.
That came from like a Japanese or a Chinese keyboard.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh, there's another one, Rational Rats. I was going to talk about this one too. There's a transfer normal data as well.
Am I the only one that feels like that's cheating? Is that too modeling purist?
Data transfer.
So it's not data transfer, I don't think. Right, Rational Rats? There's actually a transfer normals operator. Maybe it is data transfer. See if Rational Rats knows. So you basically use the normals from one object and you transfer that normal information to the other object. And a good use case for that would be something like a muzzle on a gun, like a silencer has a whole bunch of circles cut into it all around. And you could use a cylinder's normal information and transfer that data over to the cutout muzzle that has the same cylinder geometry.
Yeah,
that make
that's yeah. So it'd be a separate object that you would choose in here. It'd be a different object that you would use the information
You're basically
from,
stealing the normal information
from a different object.
So
yeah.
Omar, is that? Yeah.
So I don't think
Is that
it'd work
cheating,
in this
Omar?
case.
Blender made modifiers.
What?
You asked if that feels like cheating. Well, if it's cheating, Blender made modifiers for it, so they must feel okay about it.
Yeah, nah. I remember Lampel doing that a couple of times in the Bonhead course. I
Yeah.
got mad. You're cheating.
If it's in Blender, then it's not cheating, is it really?
Or
That's right.
Yeah.
Eating like Rational Rat said. Says,
It's all cheating. That's right.
Yeah, exactly. It's all cheating.
You could argue the subdivision modifier is cheating, right? You're getting all that extra vertex information.
And the mirror modifier, it's all cheating because you're only doing half the job.
It's all cheating.
That's right. The mirror modifier is cheating. You should model both sides.
It's all cheating. That's today's biggest takeaway.
That's right.
Okay, that's all I had. So
That was great. Yeah, I've seen that question asked a lot. Good explanations.
So what's
Okay.
next?
It's Spiky. You going next again?
Okay.
Oh, Sheila wanted to do the demo of that thing about rotating several items.
Yeah.
How to align several items that are rotated.
Okay.
We want
Cube.
to have Spiky share his thing and then we'll answer Sheila's.
Yeah.
The Spiky's
Well, I
goes
have
right
this- I
along
have
with
this
the auto smoothing.
cube, right?
The beveling.
Yeah, I'm going
See,
to
I-
do everything yet now. So,
Sweet. We'll make Spiky do it all.
hop. So I want everything to have be oriented like this one, right? I go to my transform orientation, click the plus, and now the cube is a transform orientation. Now I can select rest, object, transform, align to transform orientation, ready. That's it.
That was too easy. That was cheating.
Yeah, that's too
That's
easy.
cheating.
It's cheating. If you're in object mode, Sheila, you go to the options here, and you click that affect only origins. That's where the arrows came from, the coordinate system. It's not what it's meant for, but I used it for visualization. What happens is I can now, I can Alt R and clear the rotation, but it's only clearing the rotation of the origin, so the coordinate system, and the cube stays the way it is. And I can rotate, and the cube stays. So that's an option if you only want to affect the origin.
I believe that's affecting your spreadsheet data, though, isn't it, when you're doing that?
Yes, of course, because the spreadsheet data is where the vertices are in that coordinate system. And if you change the coordinate system, then the vertices change.
Yep.
Does
Makes
that make
sense.
sense?
It's also cheating.
It's cheating. It's all cheating.
That's why we're doing these streams, Omar,
okay.
is to teach people how to cheat.
Yeah. Cheat sheet.
Sheila
My
says it doesn't
favorite-
pop up.
My favorite object, the cube. I'm going to look at this Mitre thing with the bevels a bit. I don't know it completely how this works, so if I look at this angle here, what can I get? Can I draw? So you have here, this goes here, and then here. This angle is not 90 degrees, it's not on
The stream frozen only
it's
for me.
270 degrees, this one. It's not what you expected, and with the
I can see it
miters,
just fine, Omar.
Oh, so it froze for me. Okay. Let me see.
and I will actually, can I just get rid of this because I don't like that line and place them on the object, on the surface. It's easier to see. So this here is an angle, and I would say this is 90 degrees, but it's actually counting the object, so it is counting this way, 270 degrees. And 90 degrees is the air, and it doesn't count that. And this angle here is considered 90 degrees. And with the bevel, they say in the geometry, the outer is when it's larger than 180 degrees, and when it's less than 180 degrees, it's called the inner mitre. And And if I now set this to 2 segments, so here we have the outer mitre because it's larger than. Let's get rid of the stupid annotations I don't need. So here's the outer mitre, and if we look at this, you can see this is called sharp, and it means this bevel, it comes here into a point, in a sharp point. If I set this to patch, it makes here and here on the sides, it makes extra vertices. But here we still have this 90-degree angle here, this sharpness. So sharp, we have here 90 degrees coming to a point here. And the point stays, but it does create extra vertices here. And if I now go into arc, it goes a step further and makes this round. The same thing goes for the inner one, but there's only one exception. It doesn't have a patch, it only has arc. And honestly, I'm not quite sure what this is doing, but well, also it creates so sharp is probably this angle which is here and this, and it creates extra vertices here in this either side and makes it into an arc. Now let's get rid of this.
Yeah, you're right, Spiky. It is affecting that flat angle, or the flat face.
Yeah.
It's making it less sharp on the edges. Or the corners, I guess you'd say.
Yeah. But now we are getting into something really interesting. If I add a circle, let's make this a hexagon. Doesn't matter what. And I can actually, let's fill this. Interesting. The angle here now, if we turn on auto smooth, then let me, let's do annotations. We have an angle here, right? This angle is 120 degrees, but for the auto smooth, the angle, this angle is connected, so it's actually 60 degrees is calculated here. Go to normals, auto smooth, let's be object mode, shade smooth, auto smooth. If I go to 63, so it makes it smooth below 60 degrees and sharp above 60 degrees.
You said that backwards. It makes it sharp below 60 degrees and smooth above.
Yep, that's what I meant. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's really crazy because, well, I would expect, and if you look at the outer mitre and the inner mitre, then they calculate this angle, which would be 120 degrees. But the auto smooth stops at 180, and they just calculate this angle here. Bit inconsistent.
Mikey, can you turn on the angle to show the number, the overlay?
Yes, but I'm not sure which one they will show because they might give the wrong numbers here.
I think in object mode it shows all of them, or in edit mode Yeah, in edit mode you
It's
have
only
to
in edit
have.
mode, it's only in edit mode. So let's
In
go
edit
to
mode, it all depends on which edge or face you've got selected.
Okay, there is an edge angle and a face angle. An edge angle. It takes this angle, and that's not what I want.
Face
This
angle is
angle?
what you want.
Here, it says 60 degrees.
Yeah,
So-
that's the edge angle that you're auto smoothing.
Yep,
Is that angle.
completely. So it says 60 degrees, but let me test something really. Oh, sorry, the mouth. If I insert this and then extrude this, now I want to know this angle. So it says 90 degrees here, and this one is 90 degrees, but for the bevel we saw that this is actually calculated as 270 degrees, and this one is probably also 90 degrees. Yeah, so they're both the same here. And this is actually the same as this angle here and this angle here. But for the
Oh,
bevel,
interesting. So that's not reverse logic then.
it's 90 degrees here, it's 90 degrees here, but actually
Yeah.
it would be 90 degrees here and 270, at least according to the bevel. And to the hexagon, this would be 120 degrees. But it's
But
60.
coming back to the point, if you want to know what angle you need for your auto smooth, then just turn on the edge angle and select the angle that's giving you problems, or select the edge that's giving you problems, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you can do that, yeah. But yeah, well, usually I just play play around until it works.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I do.
But
But if you're wanting to know, like,
Yeah.
let's say you have the hexagon, just select one of the vertical edges on the hexagon, and it would tell you what angle you need to auto smooth down to.
yeah,
I do like when I understand it, because I normally go in and I fiddle around, and I never know why. I like knowing the why.
yeah. Sure.
Do you think maybe the auto smooth is using the difference between the angles? So where the auto smooth uses the face normal between two faces, do you think it's the difference rather than the actual angle? So if where you picked an edge on the side there, if you
Yeah.
select one of those top edges again, any one of those, or you got one selected already in there.
Yeah, here.
Yeah. So the difference between the two faces is 90 degrees. If you select the other one, the difference between the two faces was 90 degrees still, isn't it? So one's at 90 and one's at 270. The difference is 180.
It would be the absolute value difference, though, right?
Yeah, I'm just throwing an idea in there.
One of them is 90 degrees, the other one is minus 90 actually.
Yeah,
If
but
you want it correctly, and minus 90 is 270, not 360.
so taking the face normal and the direction and then the difference between the two, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but it's not what they're doing. They just mess up a bit.
Yeah.
Well, actually, for the bevel, for the Mitre out and Mitre inner, they do it correctly, but
For the auto
it's
smooth.
incorrect. But let's see if we have actually the face angle. Insert these two faces. Oh no, it doesn't do what I think it would do. It just takes the corners. Okay. No good. Forget that.
No, that's not much use, is it, really?
In this case not, but here, look.
Yeah.
Where
So
is
here-
that
here it
120
takes-
coming from?
Here it takes 60 and this would be 120.
It's
But-
the corner of the face is...
Yeah, but you see here, this would be 120 because
Oh, okay.
60 plus 60. But if you select the edge, it says, it's only 60.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. Well, Blender is made by more than one person, so things like this happen.
Excellent.
Or was there anything else? I think that was it, right?
Yeah, I would say at the end of the day, if you're trying to figure out what your auto smooth angle is, look at what you're trying to smooth and select that edge, and turn on the edge angles, and that's the auto smooth angle you need to get below.
Yeah.
The auto smooth angle you need to get below to smooth it.
Get rid of my.
You have to get.
Really?
I'm sorry. You have to get. Is it
Okay.
auto smooth? No.
Did I forget any questions? I don't think so.
You have to get above to smooth it. I'm sorry.
Above it.
Yeah, so anything above
So Omar,
30,
Yep.
which is the default, anything above 30 is
you wanna
sharp.
do another
Everything
question?
below... Oh, no, that's the wrong way around, isn't it?
Or is the
No,
longer
yeah,
there?
everything below 30 is smooth. Above 30 is sharp.
That always confuses me.
If you go lower, you start sharpening things. If you go higher, you start smoothing things.
We get there.
Higher than the number set. If it's 30,
Yeah,
if I
let
set
me
it
share.
to 30, let me watch your stream.
So I had prepped this too, just in case Spiky wasn't going to cover it. So without understanding all the details, the rule of thumb is if I want to smooth these faces, let's say I add a new circle in. Let's give a new example. So Shift A, add in a circle. We'll just add in a cylinder. We'll just leave it with 32. So if I select one of these, the angle is 11.25. So if I want to smooth all of these, when I turn on Shade Smooth by itself is going to smooth everything. Turn on Auto Smooth to set some angle. And as soon as I get above that edge, so I can come into edit mode, 11.25, and as soon as I get above that 11.25, it will start smoothing those faces. Now they're smooth. That make sense?
Yeah.
This,
If I go below the 11.25,
So what it's doing is once you get to 11.25, any edge below that is smoothed. Anything above is still sharp.
That's correct. It's the cutoff angle, basically.
Yeah.
threshold.
I've always fiddled around with that like a crazy person. I just fiddle with it until I get the results. But now I'm starting to understand it.
Yep. Without answering the question of, well, how do they determine this angle, I like the comment that had been made of, well, you just select, just select that edge you want. So this edge would be 90. In order to get smooth across this interface here, I have to go above 90. So once I get above 90, it'll smooth that transition there. So if I brought this in and I wanted this one to stay sharp, I need to come down below 72 in order to keep that sharp. Alright, now that's sharp and everybody else is smooth. This is very much a hard surface workflow. You use this often in hard surface. You're making your auto smooth do the work for you.
Yep.
Rational Rat says weird. Yes, it is weird.
I think he put that weird a long time ago.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Okay.
Cool. We got any other questions from the crew in the chat?
Omar, did you want to do another question, or you still there?
Me?
Yeah, you said you would have another look at another question if we had time.
Okay, let me see.
The Spiky, did you have anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, here's one. I think Spiky answered it, and I didn't exactly know. Someone asked, my auto smooth angle is grayed out. Why? And Spiky said that you had custom split normal.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
The custom split normals.
Auto smooth doesn't work when you have custom split normals, so that's why it's grayed out.
What's a custom split normal?
Okay. Well,
I remember you answered him, and I was left like, what is a custom split more normal? I put it here in the Google sheet, but I didn't understand that. So I guess Spike is going to answer another question again, and not me.
I'm not very good with custom split normals. I know it doesn't work with auto smooth, but what exactly it is, you know, there are the phase normals and normals on edges and vertices, and if you have smooth shading, the vertex normals are the average of the base normals that are surrounding it. And if you have flat shading, then on a vertex there are only the connecting face normals. I will have to do this with the screen because you can actually easily see this in edit mode. Then we can have the normals. At least they should be there. Oh, but let's make them longer. Right? So the cube has here face normals, and each vertex on it has the connecting. So this is actually split normals, you would say. But if you now go into shade smooth, do you see? These are average. So, and this is actually how auto smooth is working. It looks at these normals, custom split normals, but I don't know exactly how to make them.
I'm guessing you can
Geometry data. Add custom split normals data.
Yeah, it's in geometry data.
Right? And now auto smooth is grayed out. Can't use auto smooth anymore.
Or maybe that person clicked there by mistake.
Yeah, but there are other ways to add custom split normals data, but I'm not exactly sure how or where that lives. And
it's okay. I just saw that question and remember about that.
Even now it's grayed out, and if I use clear this,
oh, it doesn't come back.
It's working.
Oh yeah.
And now it's not. Now it's working again. What it does exactly, I don't know.
I've seen that problem with the press start course as well on the console, but I'm not exactly sure how they managed to do that without going into that geometry data.
So if you go into sculpt mode, Spiky,
Hmm?
those if you go into sculpt mode, those checkboxes become available on your custom normals, your geometry data section. Click on your geometry data. And you can add a custom split normals, and you can start checking boxes. I don't know enough about it to teach it, but it's part of sculpt
so
mode.
vertex crease and edge crease are, of course, normal. Clear sculpt data mask. But I know there is one thing in the modifiers. There is normal edit,
That's correct.
and then you can add an empty, for instance. First edit, add the empty, and then I can choose that as a target. Now the normals are facing in the direction of the empty.
Can you show the normals to see if they follow?
I don't know if that's
The
visualized.
overlays. Just go on the overlays.
No, well, not. Maybe if I face normals. No.
If you turn on face orientation, you'll see some color change in object mode.
Don't think so.
It's probably not sufficient for what we're
No,
trying to
because
talk
you
about.
only
though.
have two options, and they're all facing outwards, so that shouldn't
Yeah.
do.
Yeah,
but
it's an
you can see
inside
the
and
shading.
outside.
You can see the shading if I move this. You see?
I've never seen that. It's cool. I always wonder what's the application for this sort of thing.
I don't know.
I mean, it's good that we have the option to do stuff like this.
Yeah.
But the application must be very, very specific.
Yeah, turn on
Uh,
face orientation. It's actually really cool.
Yeah.
You can see the normal information shift to reverse.
Oh. Wow.
So you can basically tell your renderer which side of the face you want shown based on the object that you're
Yeah, but it
referencing.
changes more than just the orientation. It's
Well, yeah, for sure, it's changing the whole normal.
Maybe
But
maybe you can.
that doesn't really make sense because it's the face that's. I mean, where you've got it at the moment, the face on the top is facing towards the empty,
Or the top.
but it's showing a red face as if it's flipped.
yeah.
The,
Maybe-
the other
maybe
side
there's a
flips
checkbox.
backwards.
So if the empty is up, the normals are going to be pointing down.
Well, we're used to normals always pointing either outside or inside, right?
See that top face is red.
Case, they're all pointing one direction, or towards that object.
So it
understand.
is as Adrian says. So the top face, the normal, should be pointing to the empty, and it should be blue.
Yeah, I think so.
But it's going reverse. The bottom one is actually blue.
Yeah.
So if you bring it to above but to the side, so you're sort of
And if it's inside the cube, then all red is facing towards the empty.
if you bring the
I'm
empty
guess-
to the side and then take it up, that side face is so everything that's pointing towards the so it's flipped it, hasn't it?
Yeah, normals don't point towards the empty. They point away from
Away from.
Uh-huh.
If you go back to the object, there's actually different modes. There are mix modes, and so that's just the copy mix mode. If you were to change it to add versus subtract, that behavior will change. So if you click on the cube on the modifier, go to mix. You can change the mix mode, and that will change the normal as well.
It probably has some very specific use cases.
Yeah.
I found an easy question that I've seen at least two people ask. Should I read it?
Yeah.
They say multiple objects versus one object. When they add an object, people get confused. Let me do a new Blender. Let me stream. Blender, okay, I'm live. So basically this is what's happening to people. I've seen at least 2 questions about this. People get confused because they don't know, they see two objects. So the monkey. They see two objects and they don't know why they're both moving at the same time. It's quite easy really, but people get really confused when they're beginning. And of course you guys know what is it that's happening. But basically, when you add an object in object mode or in edit mode, it matters. If you add it in object mode, the object will come as a separate object. But what's happening to people is when they add the object, they're in edit mode. So in object mode, if I add a monkey, it will come as a separate object. But if I'm in edit mode, and now I add the monkey, it will be part of this object.
So go back to your add menu, Omar, before you stay in edit mode. Do the Shift A menu. At the very top, you have your panel, and it gives a title based upon what the menu is. So this is a mesh add menu, where when you're on object mode, that actually changes to saying object.
Yeah.
Or add. Yeah.
So this is basically all about the object data. Spiky explained it a bit of it earlier, that this is a container of data.
If you're in edit mode and you add a monkey, you're actually adding new vertices to the object.
Exactly. So I've seen a couple of people confused because of course they're just starting to learn Blender.
Yeah.
And they go mad because they don't know why the object it's inside the object. So if you add it in edit mode, so in the mesh one, if you add the monkey, it's part of the cube object. And if you want it to be if you want the monkey to be a separate object, you can select all the vertices, P, and separate by the selection.
Just be aware you have to be in X-ray mode to do that, otherwise you're only going to select part of the monkey.
True.
Or you can also
use L.
separate loose parts, but then the eyes also get separated.
That's right.
In case of the monkey.
It's hypnotizing. So yeah, I can. That's one of the questions. People were going mad about it. They didn't know how to separate it or how it got there, and it's because you added in edit mode. If you add stuff in edit mode, it will be part. When you go to object mode, it will be part of the same object.
Blue Wizard has a really good comment. Thank you, Blue Wizard. So one clue is that in edit mode, you can only add mesh objects. You can't add curves or lights or cameras or empties.
Oh yeah,
You can only add meshes. And the same goes in, like, go ahead and go to a curve. The same would apply to a curve. If you're in curve edit mode, so you can go to the Shift A and you only get curve options. You could have the exact same problem though, but the fix is the same.
Yep. So, yeah, it's all about object mode, edit mode, object data. How an object is just a container for the information that it's inside of the mesh data. So yeah, that's basically it.
Great.
Excellent. Any more questions?
Okay, push the wrong button.
I think we're done,
You
are we?
screamed, didn't you?
What's our time looking like, Omar?
3:45.
Oh, we've got Phil in the chat. Sheila had asked a question about rigging earlier. Is Phil able to talk? Phil's like our master rigger.
What was the question?
Hey, Phil.
Hey guys.
Hi.
She can type it out again. The chat's been going for a while. See if I can find it.
I've got a lot of kids in the background, so I'll try to stay muted here as much as possible.
Oh, about an object that follows two things. So using the constraint, the transform constraints, wasn't it?
Yeah, because you said like you can't parent it to two objects. You can only have one parent each object.
So she wanted to have two objects following. What was it?
One
can't
object
remember.
following two others.
Following two others. Yeah.
The official question was, how can you make one part follow two sides? Because you can only parent to one side.
That's interesting. Let me close my door quick and see if we can work it out.
That
Put
call
Phil,
was
I just put Phil on the spot, and he wasn't ready. Sorry, Phil.
I just wanted a chill day stream, watching you guys do your thing.
That's right.
I only know. So is this having to do with just objects, or are we talking about an actual armature?
I think it's more just, it's probably going to apply to both, but probably just to objects, right, Sheila? Spikey had suggestion using constraints, and I think that's the correct answer. Constraints will
Yeah.
allow you to have one object follow two things, right?
Yeah. At the end of the day, yeah. It could be a parent-child relationship. I think. I mean, you could have two children of one parent. You can have multiple
Other way around.
parents.
But a child can't, yeah, you can't have multiple parents, right? A child can only follow one parent.
Right.
the year 2022. Everything's possible now.
So typically one solution, Sheila, is you can still have a parent of a child. So like have your object be parented to somebody. He gets some of his rotation and movement from that parent. And then you can constrain and copy your rotations to another object. Isn't that right, Phil?
Yeah, so let me share my monitor here. It's gonna be, yeah, I think you got it right. We can try to do a quick demo of it. I'm trying to remember how to share screens for some reason. So, let's see.
Customize my blend.
Cube, monkey, and sphere. So the challenge would be
Make the monkey the
have
child so we can
two
see him
objects
moving around.
kind of controlling, say, the square as if it's a child of both of them. That kind of the deal.
Yeah,
'cause one of them,
make the monkey the child. That way you can kind of see it pointing at things since it has a face.
okay, so do you want it pointing at two different objects?
Or just
Like
just
one
having it.
one rotate, because here we can start by parenting the object.
You gotta select the parent first.
So who's your daddy? I am. Object there. So here's the child. And the parent moves that around, right? If you want the sphere to also control this, you would have to add a constraint. We can do copy transform. We'll say local, and the mix would. Well, let's see how it works. Got this, and then also. We wanted to. Afterwards, right? Anyway, now you can see this is following that. The monkey is also following.
Nice.
Is that what you're kind of looking for, Sheila? The constraints would be the way to go for sure to tackle this kind of problem.
And you can do some fun things with this, like you could take the parents away completely and do, I believe, a copy transform on both of them. You put 50% constraint on each one, and then you'd have an object that's directly in the middle of both of them, no matter how far you stretch them out. There's some utility to that.
What you can also do is put 2 child-off constraints on the one you want parented. So you say you have
yeah.
the monkey, and you put a child-off constraint for the cube and a child-off constraint for the sphere. And then you move either the sphere or the cube, and the monkey will follow. It'll be a child of both of them. And I think that's what she wants.
I feel
Give it a shot.
the LGBT people are going to be mad at us.
So, child of.
To right.
So do 2 child of constraints and have it point to one and point to the other, and you can set the influence to
And
50,
you don't
right?
have to do anything with the influence.
Yeah, it does the same thing.
Yep.
I think what Sheila's asking is she wants to be able to move. So in your example, she wants to be able to move one object and have both other objects move with that.
No, because that would simply be parenting.
That'd be a
Yeah,
parent.
you can parent.
So
Yeah, that's
You can
2 children
parent
of one parent.
2 children of one parent.
if we do that, we can make, let's say, the monkey the parent. Put the object. Now you have Suzanne controlling both of them,
Yeah.
and then each one can move individually from that.
But if you needed one to influence the other, you could use constraints for that as well. Right?
Sure.
So let's say you wanted
Yeah,
the sphere to
both.
influence the cube also.
Yep. So let's go constraint. Should be this one, child of, right? Oh, it's not liking it. Complication. Yeah, it's doing that because let's try to put this over here. Let's transform. So this is still controlling it. That's its new master. Sorry.
The cube.
And then now the cube will be right. I want that to go. There. That controls that. This controls both. And technically
Oh,
that.
that's what she was
won't
looking
move.
for. It looks like.
Really?
Yep.
Why isn't the circle moving?
Circle's not moving because it's constrained. So to get around that, we can do we just have to adjust the parent-child relationship, so we'd add an empty, right? And make this the child of the empty. And then now make the empty the child of the monkey.
Oh my god.
So now it controls both. This controls the circle. And the empty, that should be controlling the... Why doesn't it do it? There's an error.
You got the reverse parent going. You're setting the parent to be the sphere.
Parent. Oh, yeah, right. So now...
Oh,
No.
no. Hmm.
Well, easy way to do that.
You see you, Sean, and Phil liking this because of
Yep,
all
there you
the
go.
engineering
So
thing.
we got double transforms happening. So I'd have to work it out a little bit, but that's kind of the gist of it.
Phil is going to
Or-
experiment.
So in order to get that working without the two objects going to the exact same location, is you had to set their origins to be different, right?
Yeah. Interesting.
Just like anything in Blender, it's trial and error.
Trial and error. Yeah, we'll try and figure that out. But so there's a double transform happening. That
How many constraints are on that sphere?
is the copy location for the cube.
Child of the empty,
Actually,
and is
it's
it
probably-
also?
It's probably from
Go ahead.
that because the parent is moving the cube along with the sphere, so it's doubling up on the transform movement from the parent. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So if that constraint wasn't there, that transform wasn't there, everything would move one-to-one with the monkey. But then we add a copy transform, so now it's doubling the amount of transform that's happening in the sphere. So we have to do
So what if you made the sphere the child of the cube, and then you had it copy the transform of the empty? I'm gonna play a little bit.
yeah.
But basically, you're gonna be using a mix of constraints and parenting. At the end of the day, Sheila.
And this is rigging. Concentration.
Avoid dependency cycles.
Yes.
Yes. Because ironically, you can't undo those once it starts freaking out. So save often. Watch out for loops.
Stay away from recursion.
Interesting. Now I gotta figure that out by the end of the day. He gave me a problem. But yeah, that's that. I think we solved Sheila's problem, right?
I think so. She said, so that should work. I'm going to
There's
experiment.
no we, Phil. There's no we. It was you and Sean.
No, I don't know. You guys were kind of helping me along the way, so.
Well, if Sheila is pleased, then we're okay.
Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna jump off. You guys finish it out.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Phil.
Thank
No
you,
problem.
Phil.
Hey, thanks, Phil.
Yep.
Okay, so anything else you want to mention in the last few minutes?
What's the time in London right now?
In London, it's 20:58, almost 9 o'clock.
Here it's 10.
Wow.
Almost.
Nearly bedtime. Actually, it's not school night, so I can stay up.
yeah, I guess we're done.
No questions from anyone in the chat.
Cool.
You need to walk the dog at night. You can't do that here where I live, or you'll lose the dog. It'll be someone else's dog after that.
Yeah, Sheila says just buy a bigger dog.
Yeah, that's what everyone does here.
Irrational
Okay.
said there's an old course on CD Cookie about
Yeah, I know.
details of rigging with constraints.
Yeah.
Fighter jet.
I remember
Yeah.
Chris Kuhn, I believe, did that course. He did a lot of
I
rigging
think
stuff.
so, yeah.
I remember because I kept asking myself, who wants to do rigging?
I love rigging.
No, yeah, and I know you have an engineer in mind as well as Phil.
Yeah, I quite like rigging. It'll be fun sometimes.
It's very technical and problem-solving oriented. I think I like the puzzle, but it can be very frustrating.
Yeah, there's a few people typing, so we'll just see what's.
There's the link to the course.
Rigging a fighter jet.
And it's a relatively short course. It's just 3 lessons.
For the collab, you guys are gonna have a rigging fiesta.
Yeah, Machinery Crew is going to have a lot of fun with rigging.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so Phil says armatures just seem easier to wrap my head around than object to object, but the course is very nice.
Yes,
Yeah.
when I was doing the backhoe project, I had the loader arms, and those needed to interface with both the main body, and they had to interface with the bucket in the front. And so the loader arms it was like a constraint relationship where there were multiple pieces that connected both to the arm and to the bucket. And so I had to, in order to figure out my collisions, I had to rig via constraints just to get the things to move around so I could find out where things would collide. And I used all constraints for that. It was copy rotations and typically copy locations. And it was tricky, just on the objects. I didn't actually build any bone rigs. I just used constraints the whole way. And it was just tricky figuring out who was constrained to who. Because probably 4 or 5 times I got stuck in these infinity loops where I got somebody constrained to somebody else, and it looped back onto itself. So
Yeah.
it takes a little bit of playing with, but once you figure it out, like you just work your head around, okay, I need this to move first, and then this needs to move once that is moved, or this needs to rotate based upon that. Just take it in a methodical step, like talk yourself through it as you're going. Who's going to move first, and then who needs to move next?
I didn't know you rigged the dog.
Yeah, I rigged just the loader arm area where it started from the main body to the bucket in order to figure out what objects would start colliding with each other.
So you got it to work?
Yeah.
Are you planning on rigging the robot now?
Well, I'm on the machinery crew, so we're going to rig all the machines. Rigging the robot's going to be bonus.
Yeah, I'm not sure how far that's going to go, is it? I think using the rigging the machines to bring all the parts together, but then I'm not sure if Kent's actually going to rig the final robot and have it walk out the hangar.
Well, we have that middle time when the collab ends that we can go our ways and experiment.
Like last year with the interior.
Yep. So I'm thinking we can go all in those couple of months before and goes again to do the final animation to sell the other collab. How about we rebel and have an entire bot battle? And yeah, I was thinking something like that. We're going to rebel, that's for sure.
Adrian will have built another bot
Rebel.
by the time we're done. He always ends up doing one more thing.
Yeah, true. We are going
So-
to rebel. That's for sure.
Okay, so you mentioned the backhoe before. I'm going to just share my screen of something I've been working on for a little while.
Oh, this is cool.
Oh, here
yeah,
we go.
I think that's.
Here we go.
I think. What is
Oh
Can you
yeah,
s-
yeah. Remember the Lego one.
Yeah, but I've started rigging it as well. So, okay, so I've got. It was quite complex for me because I'm not a rigger. So when I rotate this, it lifts up the arms.
Yeah,
But
that's
this-
what I did. You're doing exactly the same way.
But to get that bucket to stay level while all the other pieces moved was quite hard. So
That's supposed to.
all these cogs and everything move.
Why do you have to spin it so much for it to go up? Is that a feature or a bug?
Because I've got the rotation on those cogs at the side there. That they move faster than the rest of the actual arms lift the bucket. So for me, not being a rigger, it took me some time to figure all this out. But I had fun with it. What else have we got?
All builds, are those all real world Lego pieces, or did you take some liberty?
No, they're all real world, modelled off from the Lego manual that I found online.
I thought you were going to say model of my Legos.
So I've got all these pieces that rotate different pieces, and it was quite complex to get all that to move in.
Did you have to
For me,
research
anyway.
how that works in real life?
Sorry?
Did you research how all those machinery works in real life?
Did I? Sorry? I didn't hear that probably.
Did you have to watch YouTube videos of how
I did watch some, yeah.
of how that machine works?
Yeah, I had to find some. I found an actual. Someone had built the model and showed all the different parts moving on YouTube.
Does it move? Can you move it backwards and forwards and the wings, the wheel things?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I've got to do the back
Really cool.
arm yet. That's a bit dodgy at the moment.
Are you gonna put it in the blender market?
I've got these stabilizers go up and down. What else we got? Oh, that's for the arm at the back.
I think that one I can do.
But I haven't quite finished that yet.
Are you going to put in the blender market?
I've got some issues at the back there, but I've got to sort all that out. But it's fun. What
All
else
right.
we got?
I guess I can share the rig that I built back in 2020. OBS, let's go live.
Did Sean drop?
Oh, my Discord crashed, sorry.
You pushed the wrong button as I did.
OBS window. You guys still there?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. So I did the exact same thing you did, Adrian. That's really funny. So I've got these, they're just helper objects for the constraints, and all my constraints here are shown in empties. So I did everything parented to empties, and then the empties had constraints built into them. And a lot of them were just copy rotation. So as I rotate this guy around, he would rotate the loader arm, and all of these things would rotate as well. And then these things had some copy location built into them. Let's see. There was some damp tracking going on. And then this helper object would have the tracking going for damp track on these pistons and then rotations on these. But I had to do this in order to figure out, because this, while I was working on the loader arm assembly, this piece here was not entirely flat. I had to figure out how to get it to work without intersecting when this thing extended. But it was I used no bones in this exercise. This was all constraints.
All objects and constraints. Yeah, I've used bones in mine armature.
Oh, okay.
Is this the original backhoe?
This is the original backhoe, yeah.
Excellent.
This has got Omar's battery box, Spiky's stuff on the inside. There's a couple. You did the axles, right, Spiky? And you did tires too.
Do you have my key and lock on the battery?
Yeah. There you go. It's got a little shark on it.
There it is.
This isn't the released asset that Kent has on the CG Cookie site. I don't think that mine released with these. I think I had to remove these for the final object.
Yeah.
But it was in case we ever decided to animate the thing. I wanted to have this in place for the animation.
Have you got the engine in there as well?
Yep, the engine's in here. This thing was a masterpiece. I have it turned off just because of how much memory it took. See if it turns on. There we go.
The more I think about it, the more I think we should go with a very simple story. Wow. Great.
This thing turned out great. Reminiscing time. Sorry, guys.
Exactly.
Collabs of old days past.
Goodbye, Sheila.
Yeah, I think we're done for today, are we? We're
I think so.
9:10. I think we can call that a day.
Yeah. We're good.
Okay, thanks everyone.
2 hours fly by.
Exactly.
Yeah, time fly-bys in this.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome. We'll catch you all in the next one.
Yep.
yeah.
See you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Okay. Bye,
Bye.
everyone.